Hello students, today class we are going to discuss about what is Bohr effect and Holden effect and what is the difference between Bohr effect and Holden effect. Before going to discuss about these two effects, we should know about the human respiratory system and how it is going to work. These are the two questions we are going to discuss. Here you can notice these two diagrams carefully. In human respiratory system, once air enters into the lungs, usually air used to contains high partial pressure of oxygen, that means high amount of oxygen than carbon dioxide. That means the partial pressure of oxygen is very high. At the same time in the lungs also the partial pressure of oxygen is very high. Here we can observe each part of the lungs is consisting the smallest part, that is alveoli. These all are alveoli. Each single alveoli is consisting so many alveolus. The alveolus is a singular of alveoli. Here you can notice, here I have expanded this alveolus. This is a singular of alveoli, where actually the gas exchanges occurs between the lungs and various parts of our body and tissues. Here you can notice each alveolus consisting a large amount of O2, because as we inhaled O2 and it is transported in the form of HbO2 through the left side of the heart, and it is delivers O2 to the organs and tissues. Here you can notice the oxygen is transported in the alveolus, as it is consisting greater amount. Hb is trying to combine first with O2, and you know the hemoglobin structure, that each hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 oxygen molecule. That means 8 oxygen atoms. So individual hemoglobin molecule will transported, so total 4 oxygen molecules each hemoglobin, and it will transport first to the left side part of the heart, then it will transport to the tissues or organs. We know that the tissues usually the metabolism used to happen, that is respiration and digestion. For these two processes the oxygen is required, and also this oxygen is helped to create energy in the form of ATP. In the process of producing ATP, the organs and tissues produces byproduct, which is CO2. So this CO2 is further transported in the form of carboxyhemoglobin, which is again transported through the right side of the heart, and further it is going to finally exhale through alveolus. This is the process used to happen in our respiratory system. So here our question is, what is Bohr effect and Holden effect? You can notice here carefully, the oxygen is going to combine here Hb first, as oxygen partial pressure is very high at alveolus. At the same time the tissues, the CO2 partial pressure is very high, so that is the reason Hb is trying to combine CO2 next. So here the combining capacity of Hb to the O2 is directly dependent on the amount of CO2. Do you understand? Here you can observe one more thing. Here the affinity of Hb towards O2 is greatly affected with the amount of CO2 present in the tissues. That is called explained Bohr effect. At the same time, the affinity of CO2 towards Hb is directly dependent on the amount of O2 present in the alveolus. That means CO2 is greatly affecting the Hb binding capacity of O2, and O2 is greatly affecting the binding capacity of CO2 to the Hb. So these two effects are opposite to each other. So here I am going to explain you one more time. So here you can notice the Bohr effect. The formation of oxyhemoglobin in the tissues is directly dependent on the amount of CO2 present in the tissues. Next, coming to the Holden effect, the formation of carboxyhemoglobin. The formation of carboxyhemoglobin, that is also affected the amount of O2 present in the alveolus. So here you can notice what is meant by Bohr effect and what is meant by Holden effect, and these two differences. When blood reaches tissues, as we know that in the tissues the partial pressure of CO2 is very high, because all our metabolic process releases CO2 as a byproduct. That CO2 is trying to combine with H2O and produces carbonate, that is H2CO3, carbonic acid, and further it is going to dissociate it as H plus and HCO3 minus. Here we have to notice CO2 is not directly going to dissolve in the blood, and it used to dissolve in the form of carbonic acid. For this reaction, the carbonic anhydrase enzyme is going to use, and here hence H plus increases. Due to this reaction, the H plus increases in the blood. At the same time, due to H plus increasement, the pH also decreases. Because of decrease in pH and also increasing the partial pressure of CO2, the dissociation of HbCO2 gradually increases, and it is going to release O2. So that is why the Bohr effect, it is the effect of CO2 on O2 transport. You can say under term, the Bohr effect, it is the effect of pH and O2 transport. Coming to the Haldane effect, this is just opposite to the Bohr effect. When blood reaches to the lungs, in the lungs the partial pressure of oxygen is very high. So obviously, as oxygen is very high, Hb is trying to combine with oxygen rather than CO2. So carboxyhemoglobin trying to cleave it as Hb and individual CO2. This CO2 is further sent to the lungs for expiration. So the Haldane effect, you can say the effect of O2 on CO2 transport. So these two effects I am going to explain you in the graphical representation. You can notice here, as the amount of CO2 increases, what is going to happen? So this is the line corresponds to the low carbon dioxide, and the middle line corresponds to the normal carbon dioxide partial pressure, and this last line corresponds to the high partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So at low concentration of carbon dioxide, the binding capacity of oxygen towards Hb is very low, you can notice, and at very high amount of carbon dioxide, the binding capacity you can notice at very high. Okay, that means the saturation of O2 in the Hb is very high. So that's what I have written here. So increasing the partial pressure of CO2 shift the O2 dissociation curve downwards. That means higher the pCO2, lower the affinity of Hb for O2. So Hb for O2 is lower means, so the saturation is becoming higher. So here you can notice the O2 effect on CO2 transport in blood. Similar way here you can notice we are going to draw a graph between total amount of CO2 present in the blood and partial pressure of CO2. As partial pressure increases, the total amount of CO2 present in the blood also gradually increases. And also you can notice it means higher concentration of O2. What is this concentration? If suppose the partial pressure of oxygen is gradually increases, so it causes dissociation of HbCO2 and it releases free CO2 more amount. So it releasing free CO2 means it is lowering the affinity of Hb towards CO2. You can notice here it is a higher partial pressure of oxygen. That's why it is having a lower affinity towards O2. So higher partial pressure of oxygen means the Hb is having lower affinity towards CO2. So lower partial pressure of oxygen means higher affinity towards CO2. So thank you for watching this video.